thrill. I was all on my own, now we're looking made it home. Spit the dish up from the dome, my looking we gone, and this is the thrill. Welcome to the
Oh, what a
What a
sweet
sweet
name. Ooh, I like.
How you doing, bro?
Doing good, doing good. What's
Got the
going on?
dreadlocks going. Got the
I
dreadlocks
whip my hair back
going.
and forth. I whip my hair back and forth.
Oh shit! Hey,
What's
no.
going on, guys? This is a nice little weekend we got going on with movies, and as you could see from my
Yes.
clown of a partner here.
Clown ass.
You ready? The King Clown.
King clown. That shit's supposed to stay
But
up. It
hopefully,
ain't gonna stay up. But...
yes, you gotta play with it a little bit. Giggity. But yes, we are talking about a really good movie that at least in my opinion, I don't want to dive too much into it, but we're gonna definitely talk about this movie Prey, which is dropped on Hulu. For those who haven't seen it, who didn't see, honestly speaking, I didn't see the trailer at first. I remember when you talked to me about it, I was first kind of like, Prey. I ended up looking up the trailer. So I ended up really liking it, and when I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, we gotta watch this. So before we dive into this, guys, I do want to make sure that you guys do like and subscribe to our channel. For those, if you saw the intro, hit that little button at the bottom, hit the subscribe button, get the little bell there, so whenever we start dropping out new videos, you guys are up to date. Also follow us on our Instagram page and our Twitter. We've been dropping out a lot of content there and a lot of stuff, some comedy, just to kind of like keep it interesting. So if you guys want to follow us and stay up to date, you already know what to do.
Everything and everything.
Everything, anything, and whatever you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, keep it fun around here.
Oh yeah, we'll keep it loose. So Robbie, what's your thoughts, man? What are you thinking?
So when it comes to the initial thoughts and idea of this movie, when I saw the trailer for Prey, I thought it was a parody. I thought people were just making fun of it. And I was just like, there's no way they're making another Predator movie. And then I saw it was going to be on Hulu, and I was like, huh, that's a copyright thing if you do that. So you can't just slap that in a fan-made trailer. Yeah?
Exactly.
So I was just like, okay, there might be some truth to this. So I started like looking into it, and I'm like, huh, this looks good. I started watching the trailer a little more. I'm like, this ties in a couple of things. From the original movies, from the original storyline, from the comic books, if anybody does this for the comic books. And I was like, this might be promising. And then more trailers started coming out, and I'm like, okay, I can't wait. I can't wait for August 5th. Let's go. Because it looks so seamless. It looks so fresh. It looks new. It looks down to the roots of the original Predator movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I love it. I love it. I watch it. I have it on right now in the background. I'm watching it. And yeah, I was just like, I got to watch this movie again. So it's wonderful, wonderful. How about you, man?
Oh man, I'm a, just like you said, like going back to Arnold Schwarzenegger, I was a big Predator fan of the movies. I never read the comic books. I was a little too young for the graphic novels when they first, everything started coming out with it. But I was a huge fan of that movie. I get to the chopper, do it now. And Schwarzenegger could always do that for me, and I was like, yes, I gotta watch this movie. So I remember seeing it. I mean, hundreds of times, the original Predator movie and all the other ones with Danny Glover, and then some of the prequels that they did, or AVP, and I definitely enjoyed it. So when I saw the trailer first, I was kind of like, okay, this piqued my interest. I only saw one trailer. I didn't want to watch anything else because I was afraid that it would kind of give too much information if I watched too much of the trailer. So I only wanted to see enough just to kind of say, okay, got me. But then as I started watching it, the more and more that I was getting into, like you said, a lot of it goes to the roots. If you start watching some of the character takes, I was kind of blown away with how they went back to it. Literally had my face kind of like, huh. I was definitely digging it. But but and just real quick before we keep going, this is gonna be just for the viewers who don't understand what's about to happen. Their ears are gonna hurt. Spoiler alert for some of the stuff that's probably gonna happen. Be said. But you know, when I saw his face finally, when I see this, I was like, first off, I started sounding like Schwarzenegger. You ugly motherfucker! Like, oh. He's just a but I loved it. I definitely see where they were going with this and this part of it, and how they're giving that little bit of more of a roots into it. I definitely enjoyed it. I can't talk much how much I watched it with Anise, and she was just sitting there like, babe, like she's kind of forgot about the movie. So for her watching this, she's like, oh, what about this? What about this? And then she started kind of like remembering some things, but not all of it, and hooked. And it was really good. Like for her to look at a movie that's kind of a little bit more gory, more of that, not maybe horror first per se, but you know, that really more like guts and violence. She was like, yes, let's watch it again.
It's a fantastic movie, man. It really is.
It really was.
The lead actress, Amber Midthunder.
Yes.
First of all, excellent last name. I'm gonna go down and change my last name. Robbie Midthunder. Stormbreaker. So, Robbie Stormbreaker.
Start having people, man who talks with thunder. Get Indian names all of a sudden. Native American names, sorry.
This is my corgi. We call him White Paw because he has little socks. Anyway, so yeah, man, it's an excellent movie. She did a great job. Pretty much, I feel holding this movie on her own because yes, she has her brother. Yes, she has the tribe. She has her mother. And then the other hunters throughout the movie, but it's mainly a story. It literally is a coming of age story, but a very gruesome. I need to prove myself, and the only way to prove myself is to have this initial hunt and kill. It just happens that the initial hunt and kill is killing bears, and I'm gonna go after it because it's gonna try to come after my tribe if I don't try to do something. And she's, her being a woman, and all the other ladies are looking at her like, why don't you just, forage and cook and do the things? Why do you want to be a hunter? That's a guy's job. And she's like, I'm doing it because you don't think I can. And I love that line in the movie. It's like, I'm doing it because you think I can't. That's the reason why I'm going so hard on this. Because I could do all this foraging bullshit, but I want to hunt because I'm a great tracker and the guys know it. But I want to be a good hunter, so you guys know it. Love it. Love the storyline. I want to watch it again. I am watching it, but I want to have like an undivided attention and watch this movie from beginning to end. I really hope that they do a part 2.
Yeah,
I heard that, but nothing is greenlit.
And this is the one thing about Predator movies. They've never really, even though they've done like multiple different ones, they've never really tied them or done like sequels. The only one that they've ever done that sequel that actually tied together was AVP. That one, and they kind of had to, just the way they had ended the first one and deleting the other one, even though Requiem wasn't great.
Terrible. It was terrible. Yeah. That's what it was.
I loved AVP, and to see Requiem, I was kind of like, that could have been better. This?
Yeah. I don't care about this kid and this pizza.
And you know what? I really love that idea of the alien predator, the hybrid that they had created. I thought it was going to be, I had really high hopes of how they were going to build that character, that monster, and kind of run with it. And I was like, it
was pretty much just a sewage alligator. But anyway.
And,
I have a question for you, brother.
What's up?
So, I personally don't know much about when it comes to the Native American tribes and the way that their traditions and go about when it comes to their history. But what do you think of how they portrayed the Native Americans in this movie?
So when it came to the Native American tribes, I was actually really in love with their story. Just kind of looking at how they kind of portrayed the indigenous people, and a lot of these people that they're on screen are their first movies. Like the brother is in his first movie. Amber Midthunder is actually done a couple movies, actually a couple with Liam
it's
Neeson
like
too.
3.
So she was kind of a little bit more of a known name in this movie, but watching everything that they did with the Native Americans, I definitely love the portrayal of them. They did it very, very spot on. And Amber Midthunder, who's actually she's actually Native American herself. She's tied in with the Sioux tribe. And her father is Native American.
Okay.
Hence the last Midthunder is actually that's like.
Yes,
Who's her dad is actually an actor as well. He's a Native American actor, so he's actually also it's really dope. But the portrayal of them, I think, was so great because you get to sit there and see them bring their culture in there, and it's really rare. I've always, my tattoos, I've always said, we are Taino blood, up from the island of Puerto Rico. So I've always had this love for their history and their stories, and I definitely, down to their trials, how they become warriors, how they become war chiefs, how they kind of, even to the mannerism, how they treated the women. The women were cooks, they were medicine, they were, nothing really of that importance to the society outside of being a mother, caring for the family, cooking for the family, while the man went, hunted, killed, protect.
Right.
So like you hit it
Everybody
spot
had
on
their
with
role.
Exactly. Everyone had their role. Everyone had their just what they needed to do. This is, you're a cook and you are nothing more. I am the hunter. You sit in your place. And when they went and got her in one of the scenes, which was a really crucial scene, I thought, and for me, for her character, was when she beats the bricks off that other man who's one of their top hunters. And she beats the bricks off that
He had to
ass.
stop fighting and somebody else helped him.
Seriously.
He was like, you're not gonna fight. You're not gonna win this fight alone, bro.
the predator was in the trees watching it, going, "Ooh, bro, like pussy."
I was like, I wonder if she is actually the top hunter around here. Okay.
She took. She put some hands on him.
Yeah,
but
she hit him with an elbow. He had to stop for a second. No,
he had to contemplate life. He sat there going, "What happened? Was that a buffalo or was this woman's elbow? What the hell?" I do
have to say, her growth in the movie is one of my favorite things, when she has her battle axe and she's getting better at it. But she's like, I need to become more efficient at this. I can throw it and I'm hitting, and she's chasing after the deer and she's throwing it while she's running and jumping in the air. And she's like, I can't be wasting time throwing and trying to hunt, but I gotta get my stuff back too.
Like, not even just, and I think it was the thought process of, I gotta throw this, go and grab it, because then I lost my weapon.
Exactly.
So then try to continue. So she goes, I need something to throw and pull it.
She pulled off the bark and tied it up and made some good string. And it was such a Mortal Kombat moment for me, because I was just like, this is shades of a thought process, not only of Ninja Assassin, when he took the I think it was like a katana or a form of katana. I can't remember the name of that weapon, but they actually made it for the movie. But it's from the idea of a different weapon, and they put a chain on it, so it's like a katana with a chain.
Yeah, and he threw it and pulled it back,
and you could bring it back. So I was just like, that's Scorpion. So you have the dagger at the end, and throwing it. Now she has a Native American battle axe that she's throwing it, and they show her practicing with it. It's not like, oh, let me just make this and I'm efficient at it. There were a few scenes throughout the movie where she had to get good at it, and trying to be more efficient with this new weapon that she has, even when she was stuck in the mud. And she's and she missed, and then she's up to her nose with the mud, and she's like, this is my last chance. And it's just like, whoa, like I like the growth that the storyline takes. It's like the movie seems a little long at points, but it's essential because it shows the growth of her turning from a woman, from a girl into a woman, and her growing into her role of, yes, I am a hunter, and growing and proving herself.
Yeah.
But that was one of my favorite scenes. I was just like, that is a badass adaptation to a weapon you already are proficient at. Love
Yeah,
it.
and I think it spoke to how the tribe looked at it too, because I think Native Americans were it was so involved with their area, the woods, being part of nature, them knowing, okay, I can do this to get myself out of it, or I need this because I need to be a fish hunter, or I need to do this. So it spoke a lot of not just her herself, and which I think they portrayed it beautifully. I mean, from how she started, and you knew she was trying to be a hunter, and she was kind of like that, maybe not the outcast, but the kind of the weird girl that's like, why are you trying to do this, to being this profound hunter because she knew how to track, she knew how to hunt, she knew how to take her weapon and take it to the next level.
Yeah. She knew how to heal herself too.
Yes.
And she was very knowledgeable about the different plants and medicines around her, especially that it was like an orange leaf that lowered your blood temperature.
That came in so clutch.
I loved that scene because it ties into how the Yangcha, the predator, how they see, and they see in different lights. But mostly when they're hunting, they see body heat. And that's Arnold Schwarzenegger in the original movie. He put the mud, and he stayed in the cold water. So it's like, I don't have to bathe in mud. I have this plant, and I'll suffer because my body temperature is going to go down. I'll be uncomfortable, but I'll be alive.
But you know what, too? I almost watching how she was so badass with it too, because she ate the flowers to that scene where she kind of like set the trap to bring the predator in.
Mm-hmm.
And she ate the flower while she was talking shit to kill that guy. She ate it and just sat there, and she just didn't even flinch. Like, no, everyone else who took the flower was like in pain, writhing, and she was just like, "I got this."
Yeah, and then when she felt him coming, she just stepped out the way.
Yeah,
it was like, oh my god, that is so gangster.
She just moved like, out.
Great directing. Great. If you can always tell when a script is adapted well to the direction and the producing of the movie, because sometimes there's like a disconnect. But when you have a story and a script that is equally shown and portrayed the way it's supposed to be, it comes out in a really good cinematic experience, like Prey.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's supposed
I was actually
to feel.
Let me see something, and I'm just looking over because I wanted to see who was the Prey director. I couldn't remember off the top of my head. Sorry.
I'll look it up there. I forget.
Dan Trachtenberg. Okay, yeah. So Dan Trachtenberg, which is the name sounds really familiar. I know he's done other movies that we're familiar with. Oh yeah, Cloverfield. Duh.
Oh.
He did Cloverfield, 10 Cloverfield Lane. He's done No Escape, a couple other shows. So yeah, he's definitely done some good movies that it kind of gelled well with other franchises that he's worked on. So, and I think with this one, what makes it work better, and kind of jumping back with the portrayal of the Native Americans, is that he had a very heavy Native American cast. These weren't like whitewashed Native Americans. These were actually like indigenous people who are still very heavy in their traditions, still portraying their or not portraying, but still live some of the lifestyles in more of a modern time, but still very familiar with it. To sit there and speak about it spoke beautifully of how the characters build goes, because you can see them hunting. Like I go back to this picture because this picture does so well, and how they were looking and hunting for the lion, and how they spoke of some of the demons and monsters with it. I just loved it. And then I started thinking more and more about it, because if you look at a lot of the Native American lore, a lot of the creatures kind of look very similar to the predator in some aspects. Because some of the markings that they see, you see the creature with the two kind of like fang, or the four
Right.
fangs kind of.
Yeah.
If you look at a lot of even the Incas and some of the other tribes from like South America and Central America, the creatures are very foreign. I'm like, what if there's more truth to this than we think?
Yeah.
Because
Every
think about it.
folklore, every legend has some truth to it.
Exactly. So what if, and not to get too into like the religions or anything like that, but what if a lot of these myths were true and there is something like the predator out there in the world, because they called it the thunder god. Remember, the thunderbird flew above and I had my sign. What if they did see something like this back in the day, and because the island, the planet was so more primitive that they didn't, we weren't so much, they weren't maybe worried about us, and they're like, okay, cool, land, check it out, see what's going on.
Yeah, it wasn't as advanced as it was, so they could, as it is now. But, weapons, nuclear weapons, and things of sort. So it was, if anything, safer to go down it.
Yeah,
I was looking at the director actually. He, to add to like that gritty, dark tone that the movie has, he is the director of The Boys on Prime Video.
Oh, so he's done some very gritty movies. So.
That's a badass TV show. Yeah,
he's
really
done
good.
Some really, literally.
Yeah, he's done work for Netflix. He's done work for Prime Video. He did 10 Cloverfield Lane, like you said, back in 2016. Now he's here with Prey and Hulu. Yeah, man.
Nice. Yeah. So and Robbie, I have a question for you in regards to the Beast, and I'm not talking about Brock Lesnar. I'm talking about
he quit after SummerSlam. Much deserved.
Vince is gone. That's why. So how did you like the representation of how they actually showed the predator, the creature itself?
Yeah, my brother, when he was growing up, he was a comic book, not connoisseur. I wouldn't really call him a fan, but he had his indulgence, if you will. And one of them was Predators. The other one was Superman. He's a huge Superman fan. So he would read to me some of those, and he unfortunately would act out some of this stuff. So I got hurt quite a bit when I was younger. He would take out the fuse from the fuse box, and in the middle of the night when he's babysitting me, and go making that predator sound, that clicking sound and stuff, and yeah, that's good shit. Anyway, so hence to say that's why I love horror movies nowadays, and nothing scares me.
You lived with a horror movie then.
I lived a horror movie, yeah. So, I think, as we said earlier, we have, Predators with Andrew Brody. We've had AVP and AVP Part 2. We've had countless other ones. But this brings it back to Predator and Predator 2. So Predator 1 with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Predator 2 with Danny Glover. That's a cool picture. I like that one.
Yes.
So, it's like, I think that's from AVP actually. That looks a little futuristic.
It does look a lot more futuristic. I think if I'm correct, that is from AVP.
I think it's AVP too, if anything. But anyway, that I like how they brought the movie back to its roots. The reason why is because they needed to. You can't show too much of a technological advancement when you're dealing with a Native American tribe in the 1700s. Yeah, it just doesn't mix, So
it's almost like, how are you going to win when they have literally everything?
Right. And I think that's what they show in this movie is just literally you're dropped off and you fend for yourself. You have to hunt, you have to track, and you have to do. This is a test for the Yangtze. If I'm pronouncing that right, is the pronunciation of the race of predators, and there's different ones, but they all fall underneath the Yangtze. Yangtze. Yamcha. It's like Y something TJA. So it creates like a ch sound, I believe. But anyway, they brought it down so deep
Yamcha.
into the yeah. So
Yamcha.
they
Sorry,
brought
I had
it
to look it
down
up.
to like its basic foundation to like you were dropped off on a planet. You got to find out what is the badass of this planet. What is the top predator of this planet? And then you have to prove yourself in that planet. Now you are the top predator. But to bring it back into the creature's point of view, I am doing this as a young man, if you will, a young Yamcha, to prove myself so I could then join the ranks as a soldier of my race. If you die, you die. You just didn't make the cut. And it, so if you are able to figure it out, and then they come and pick you up, and they say, okay, now you're part of you're a warrior. You're a part of our army now.
Yep.
If you fail and you didn't die, you were chastised and you were put to another test in a tougher environment because they have different planets and different tests. The reason why they keep coming back to Earth is because humans keep figuring out ways to kill the young. You saw it in this one in Prey, and then they come back at the end credits. There's an end credit scene, and they show a couple of things. But going into Arnold Schwarzenegger's Predator, they come back, obviously. So they come back at a different time, and I think it's right around Vietnam time. So it's a different type of feel. And then they have to adapt to those. So he has different weapons. He may have a bomb. He may have, like they show how in this movie, how the bomb on their wrist was more of it was like a laser. It wasn't really an explosion, but it didn't work as efficiently, and it wouldn't have worked as efficiently when Arnold Schwarzenegger was there. So they needed some more technological advancement. And from there, my partner's gone, but I'm going to keep talking to you guys. So from there, they say, okay, you have now adapted. The humans have now adapted to what we had. So now we have to bring more. We have to fight harder. It's a better test, and it's a test for our young ones who are to join the ranks of our tribes, if you will. There's men, there's women, there's a hierarchy when it comes to the Yamcha. There's kings, there's queens, there's workers, there's the poor, there's the rich. It has its levels of society. So coming down to the foundation of that, and even down to where you have to make them your hunting mask. And so it's not like they can't breathe. They breathe air, and their bodies could adapt to different atmospheres because they go to different planets. But it's more their helmet is not for survival. It's more of a tactical situation. How they see in different light, how they see in different motions. It's different frequencies of light that they use to hunt, and to take care of themselves and to see life differently than how we would see. So the fact that the humans keep adapting is the reason why they keep coming back. In Predator 2, they actually show you in a showroom when Danny Glover, and there's more to the end of the movie, but Danny Glover, he finds he's chasing after one of the Yamcha, and he finds the ship, and he goes into the ship, and then he finds like a showcase, and that showcase is full of different skulls.
Sorry, I came back.
You're good. I've been talking to the people in the meantime. A little technical difficulty. So I got to the point where I was talking about Predator 2 and how they show Danny Glover at the end of the movie. He's chasing after the Predator, after one of the Yamcha, and he finds the mothership. Is how the Yamcha actually got to the city without being detected.
Yes.
So they show like a showroom is like a case, almost like a cabinet, and it has different skulls from all of its travels. So that warrior who died in Predator 2, he was part of that tribe that was collecting all of these different skulls. One of those skulls was of a xenomorph from Alien, so that was a direct tie-in. way back in the day when it was supposed to make AVP, and they just never got around to it. So it shows that they have to grow and they have to adapt to whoever they're trying to kill because they have to kill. And I like how Prey brings it down to its foundation, because in the trailer they say it lives to hunt. It doesn't hunt to live. We hunt to live. We're hunters. We're scavengers. We're hunter-gatherers. No. They have that down packed, the Yamcha. They don't have a problem with food. They don't have a problem with hunting. They don't have a problem with efficiency. They live to hunt. They have to prove themselves time and time again that you are worthy of being a warrior in the Yamcha tribe. So it's really cool to see, and to bring it back down to its foundation and its roots, and bring it to such a primitive, as Felix was saying earlier, such a primitive time in the 1970s, before technology, the technological boom in the 1800s and the early 1900s. So you don't have all of this. You have the land and you have your knowledge, and that's it. So it's how smart are you and how adaptable are you to this new creature? Yeah.
And I definitely love some of the weapons that we got a chance to see, because they still had them with, obviously they're alien race, so the skull with all the technology on it, and then you had the gun that had the spears on it, and they still had the laser sights to kind of
the tri-point
It
laser.
it was perfect. They definitely still kind of showed like they are still highly advanced and strong, but that they are of a different level. So definitely appreciate that. Let me see.
It was really cool with that, like the arrows instead of the blaster that they need later on because of the advancements in guns and nuclear warheads and things.
Yeah. And so my question to that is that do you think that it tied into the franchise, to the original franchise? And what do you think about that?
Like if it's a tie-in to the original movies?
Mm-hmm. Like, do you think they did a good job of saying, like, okay, this is a tie-in for everything going forward that you will see, or everything in the past, technically, because this is going forward. So it's kind of a weird timeline, almost like a multiverse of madness kind of thing. But you're looking at how well did they tie it in to the original movies back in the day, and what their future, technically, going forward was.
It definitely has a tie-in to the second movie. I'm not exactly sure. There's a couple of things that it ties into when it comes to the first movie. The adaptability of it, the heat seeking, the heat camouflage, and when it comes to camouflaging your body, when it comes to so the Yamcha doesn't have can't see your body heat, so it makes it harder for them to adapt and to hunt you. But there's definitely a direct tie-in when it comes to Predator 2, because there is a gun that comes from French, I think it was like French pirates. In this movie, they were the French. I think in the comic, for those who read the comics, forgive me if I'm wrong, but that gun is from a pirate that came from 1715, and this movie is shown in like 1718, so it's around the same era. It's like not too long ago,
because it looks around the time of the settlement of like U.S.
Right, that and the French, the British, and the recolonization of the original American colonies. This guy always prepared for me and my dorky rants. So I'm a nerd. I'm a hot nerd. So when it comes down to it, it's just like, okay, this is the gun that Danny Glover is given at the end of Predator 2. This movie kind of surrounds that, but it shows where it comes from. So it also shows that this is not the Yamcha's first rodeo when it comes to coming to Earth. So I'm not sure if they make it. Hopefully they do, because this movie is awesome. If they make a Prey Part 2, if it's going to be a prequel to this movie and it shows where he got the gun, or if it's going to be a sequel to Prey 2 and it shows what's going on, because I think now she has it. she has the gun and she learned how to use
She
it.
had a couple of different weapons too, because she
Yeah.
also had the Predator's that thing that he threw and like just
Yes.
destroyed.
And it created almost like a baton.
Yeah.
Like a sharp baton. So she's advanced, and that could show a technological advancement within the tribe too. It's like, look at all these weapons that we have. We can build off of this and make our tribe even more, than what it is. When it comes to the French are coming to the Americas. The British are coming to the Americas. We have this situation.
The British are coming. The British are coming. The British are coming.
Yeah. All over here. I think he was drunk then.
I think he saw more than just the British that night.
Yeah, right. He was on PCP or something. But could be.
My new
Yeah.
thing from now on will be that.
Christopher Columbus discovered America. No, he got drunk and he sailed the wrong direction.
He thought he was in India.
Yeah, you see, we're going to India. No, you dumbass. Like, you can't drive. Like, you can't drive. But anyway. Wow. But anyway. Yeah,
Rants around.
Rants. Our conversations are tree branches. You see this? You see this right here? This is our conversation.
Most of the people who hear this are like that sometimes.
Huh? What's Robbie talking about? Stick with me. We're gonna come back to the tree trunk.
We're in the going full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so like when it comes to, I can't wait for a part 2 of this movie, whichever direction that they go in, if they go in, because you can't have a tie-in at the end of the movie like that and say, oh, cliffhanger. Shout out to Cliffhanger from JPW. But
Shout out.
but it sets up a sequel, like, oh, more are coming. But it also sets up a prequel, like, where did the French come from? What are they here for? They're not here for just pelts. They're not here to just skin animals and do this. They're here for a reason.
And it almost looked like they were hunting that. They were here, not only were they there to colonize, though, it looked like they were hunting something, because they went there with full intentions, and because they had to bring somebody who was strong, who was multilingual,
yes,
to help them out.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to like piracy, when it came to navigating the world, a lot of it, especially like Spain, India, China, France, in this situation, they knew that the world was bigger than what it was. So they always had their own form of trackers, and their form of trackers was people who were really good at linguistics. So they carried people, and they would hire people or just enslave them sometimes that spoke those languages, so that it wasn't always hunky-dory and human resources. Sometimes you were just a resource.
I want to see the manager.
Yeah, right? There were no Karens back then. You got thrown overboard. So
this was your Karen.
People. Yeah, that was Karen. So they would have people. It's like the French would have people like we have ties and trade routes with China. So they learned that language, or they would have somebody Chinese that spoke Mandarin and Cantonese, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. So just the fact that they kind of tied it in at this movie is just like, okay, like these Native Americans. He didn't. If I have to watch the movie again, but I'm not sure if he spoke Native American to her, or if he spoke English to her. I can't remember.
So it almost sounded like, and I think the way they did this was beautifully done, because in most movies they keep the language and they do the subtitles for us to read.
Right.
And, but this one kind of made it seem like he was speaking her language, but we were understanding it in English.
Yeah, so that's what confuses me. So I'm like, I'm not sure if I was reading a dub or if I was hearing him speak to her and they had the dub of what he was saying in like French or this or that.
I think they did a good job, because like the only time they really showed another language was French, because you're watching this movie in the perspective of Naru.
Yes.
Naru, sorry.
Naru. Like Naruto.
So yeah. So she's not understanding that language. That language is foreign, literally, to her. So the guy speaking to her was speaking his language and saying pretty much talking to her, and we were seeing what she was understanding.
Right. Yeah. So I definitely have to watch the movie again to understand that one,
That's
because
definitely
if it is
that's
the
a
way that I think it is, then that shows if he spoke to her in English and she understood it, that means that there was a colonization of the English British coming, and she knows that language. So
yeah.
there's a tie-in. One, they always live close to the water. That's a given. You live close to rivers, and you live close to the oceans, the coast,
Mhm.
because that's where societies always thrive. You don't go inland trying to make things work. It doesn't. It wouldn't.
Yeah, because you need
Um,
water to do a lot of the stuff, especially for their.
survive. Yeah, to survive. So, especially with trade routes and everything like that, we would know and understand that the Vikings had already come and and had trade routes with them, because that was up to 100 to 1,000 years before the British and the French and Christopher Columbus and Spain and all them had anything to do with the Americans. So it it's a really good tie-in. I like how deep the storyline goes, and I like how like it sticks with it. It sticks with the storylines, and it gives you a new storyline to follow through. But you could watch this movie and then go watch Predator, and then go watch Predator 2, and it will all
Yeah,
tie in, because you'll be like, oh, that's that artifact. Oh, that's that thing. Oh, that's that camouflage. It ties in, and it was so really
I
cool.
definitely.
Really
Yeah,
really
I definitely. I was so mesmerized by this entire movie, like everything that they did, the little details that they did.
cool.
Personally, when I was kind of watching it, I was kind of like, I don't know how they were gonna tie into it, but then, like you said, like little things started kind of like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, this makes sense. Like, eventually, like what they did, and I love the scenery that they did, because the fact that they did those scenery more woodsy, I
Mm,
think definitely gave it its just deserved, because it took it, like you said, back to its roots where they were hunters. They weren't technically sounded like they were later on in life, because they make
mm.
them at this point, when they got to this part of the movies, they were at this point because they were just so highly uh,
They were
advanced.
on point. Yeah, they were definitely on point.
But
And
I
they had bumped into the xenomorphs. The Earth was where it was technologically, and they needed it. It's not like, oh, we're gonna, send you down here with a bow and arrow. No, we want to give you everything that you need as a young Yamcha to join our ranks, because we know that we could destroy this planet in a heartbeat if we wanted to. But
hmm
you, as a singularity, need to come here. And yeah, there's guns. They still have knives, but they have nuclear weapons. They have fire. They have this. They have that. But you're also outnumbered too, because if you get
yep,
caught, you get found. Now it's not just you against one; it's you against many. So we try to give you as many uh, advancements and give you the leg up, so you could, finish your job. And it becomes
yes,
harder and harder and harder the more technologically advanced Earth gets and humans get, because they're bound to die. So it almost comes to a point where it might be they're thinking we might just need to invade this planet, because because every
if
time we
if it's
send,
too dangerous, yeah, no, and
yeah.
it's true though. And
Mhm.
listen, the dog of this movie, stole the show for me. That dog was gangster the entire time.
He's a
I
very
kept
smart dog,
He is a very, and so I was looking
very
into
adept.
that too, because I was very curious, because I was like, I don't know that breed. And they actually, so this is how really keen into the detail that they did for this movie.
Mm.
That dog is believed to be one of the more original dogs, like after the wolves.
Hmm.
That is a dingo dog.
So yeah, I
What
was
they
just gonna say that, like a dingo, like a wild dog, not
mhm,
domesticated, first domesticated pets, if you will.
that they had created, exactly. So, or
Oh,
that humans had created.
right.
So he was. They call that dog the Carolina something breed. But they are the close. What they are believed to be the longest living breed still around.
Mm.
That they believe was around 3, 4, 500 years ago. Around with the Native Americans.
Wow,
Yeah. So this is like really keen on this like details, because that
they did
dog
their
was like,
homework.
oh yeah.
That's good.
So he
I like
was. I mean, that was a stud. That dog was a
that.
stud.
Yeah, I like it, man. I like it. Well, definitely a must see, I should say. I'm gonna watch it
Yeah.
again. I'm sorry if I don't have your full attention, but I have it in the background. I'm just watching some of these like
You-
some of these
Some
scenes
of
are
those
just
scenes get
out of this world.
mesmerizing, man. Because I was trying to take notes for like today's show and stuff, because I knew we were gonna,
Yeah.
review this, and I was kind of like caught. I had to go like, oh yeah, and like go back to like put a note about it,
Yeah.
because I was just stuck. Everything was about it.
I was at SeaWorld
Um,
yesterday, and I love SeaWorld. I can't because of my head injury. I can't do the roller coasters and stuff, but they have plenty of shows and everything. POD was over there. I haven't been to a rock concert in a while, and they did their thing. Shout out to POD if you ever watch this video. And yeah, I found myself sometimes I was just like bored waiting for my niece and my wife to do their roller coaster thing, and I'm like, you bust out my phone and watch some Prey. Get Hulu on my phone, watch some Prey, but the signal there sucks, so I can barely
couldn't do
download
it.
the app. So I had to find other things to do, like spend $26 on a burger. So yeah, it is hard, man. It's rough out
It's
there.
hard in these streets.
It's hard in these streets, man. I gotta
So
work
I
at.
had a question.
Yeah.
I had a question that, in regards to this movie, which again, loved everything about what they did with this movie.
Hmm.
What was your thought about it going to Hulu
I love it.
versus going out to like a theater first and then
Right.
going to like HBO Max or Netflix?
I love it. I love it. It's necessary because it shows that there's kind of like there's no tier process when it comes to certain movies coming out. It's just like, oh, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. That movie could come out in theaters and do great, and then it goes out on Disney Plus, or it could came out on Disney Plus and it was great. So you have a movie that's coming out on Hulu that brings revenue to Hulu because it is a theater. I think a theater-worthy movie. This
Yeah,
movie should have came out in theaters, but it didn't because we're in a new age where we're just kind of like it doesn't have to. It's like the
that
movie,
streaming
the
process.
like the movie Antlers. It's a horror movie that was supposed to come out like 3 years ago. It came out briefly in theaters, but it was during the pandemic, and then it came out on HBO Max. They bought the rights to that movie and they just put it on HBO Max. Wonderful movie. I think it's theater worthy, but the pandemic has shown that more people are reluctant to go back out into society, even though you go to SeaWorld and you see tons of people. That's just in Florida because Florida's crazy. But it's just a lot of people are like, I'd rather stay home. I'd rather stay home and
Florida's
watch
still
a
another
movie.
beast, though. Even some of the Floridians be like, I want to go out.
Yeah, so we take
Monkeypox was that.
risks. Yeah, we got COVID and monkeypox and flu season all in the same as Florida. So yeah, I'm surprised we don't have some strange like strain of alligator flu or bacteria that's not going crazy.
At this point,
So I wouldn't be surprised. I still go to work because I have to, but I wouldn't be surprised. So that being said, it's just like we're in a strange era when it's like you don't have to go to the movies, but you want to go to the movies. But some of these movie theater worthy movies are coming out on different streaming platforms. So it brings revenue there. And if you have your setup, taken care of the way we do in our house, like we got sound systems in the
it's
living
almost
room and we got sound systems in the bedroom, which is completely unnecessary, but we have it. So like, we got
bougie. That's what that means.
residual income with no children. That's what that means. I ain't got to pay for Pampers or any type of college fund. I'm a fund myself.
You are the college fund.
I have a college fund. I already been to college. So, when you're watching movies like Mad Max and stuff, and you hear like the engines and you hear the sound, the cinematic experience in your home, you're like, is this movie worthy of me going to the theater to watch it? So you kind of save your money because you've been spending money every month. So it feels good for a theater worthy movie to come out on Hulu, and you're like, I can experience this. Throw on the sound bar, get that surround sound going, and chalk it up to 10 because it's gonna be a wild ride, and that's what I plan on doing later on today. So
Right.
I honestly I have no problem of it dropping on Hulu. I love it when a brand new movie of such a caliber drops on Hulu, HBO Max, Netflix. There's Paramount now. Peacock. There's so much that saves you money. Like we were watching SummerSlam, that was on Peacock, right?
Yeah,
It saves you money, but it gives you that same experience that you would have. Because if we were watching, WrestleMania or SummerSlam back in the day where it was pay per view, we're dropping $140, $150.
easy.
Yeah, and it's
But
like,
I think that's the luxury, not just the luxury of having a lot of these streaming process or streaming platforms, but
hmm,
I think dropping it there, I was surprised first because, like you said, when I saw the trailer, I was like, this is a theater movie, like worthy. Off the trailer alone, I said this should have been in the theaters.
hmm,
But I think going there brings the attention to Hulu because of the fact that you're getting a lot more eyes now on Hulu because Hulu has normally been like TV shows or
yeah,
live
FX,
and
this stuff.
yeah, it's a lot of those stuff like that.
Hmm,
But I was I wasn't initially, I'm not gonna lie, I was initially very surprised that they dropped it there. Because of the fact that I thought Netflix would have taken this or HBO Max or
hmm,
heck, just drop it in the theaters.
hmm,
Let people pay for it.
hmm,
But it was great. I think the system, like you said, if you have a great setup at your house, you'll enjoy it the entire time.
hmm.
Um, Definitely was. It made it more enjoyable Saturday for us to
Yeah,
just sit
yeah.
down and watch it.
Hell yeah. When you got it makes it a family oriented situation because you're already paying monthly, and you could have, it's in my apartment, our living room's not that big, but you could have about 6 or 8 people comfortably, and have a little watch party. Some
Yeah,
people with a bigger setup, they can have like 15, 20 people and have a watch party. Me
that's true.
personally, when Angie and I are, we're aspiring to buy a
I
house
wouldn't
with
say
a
watch this with your
view.
family though, because if you have kids, hide your
They gotta
kids.
start. They gotta start somewhere. I hate these hover parents nowadays, man. They gotta start somewhere. I watched my first encounter with horror movies and blood and gore, and I was 4 years old, and I was watching Leprechaun. They'll be alright.
I actually gotta attest that I saw Leprechaun too, and I was probably when I was around the same age.
We turned out okay. So
Eh,
you can't
nothing's wrong
insult
with
your
us.
kids. I can't. Nothing wrong with us, man.
Little
I think
twitch.
that's why I can't have kids. Don't Angie and I can't have children because I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch that rated R movie with my child. Ain't she
I was
6?
like, what?
Yeah, she gotta start somewhere. I don't
He's a
care.
baby.
You're gonna if it's not you or society, your child will be
Exposed.
exposed to something that you don't want them to be exposed to, and you can't hide them forever. So teach them the right way to handle those situations.
Yep.
Point blank. I don't have any kids. Don't comment. Karen, don't comment because I ain't gonna watch. But I ain't gonna read it. So it's just all in all, back to the movie. It's a fun time, and I'm gonna ask you a question to close out.
Oh,
What do you feel, my bro?
my
What do
favorite
you
question
feel?
of
It's a
the
little slow.
day. It's okay. I actually,
You
so
feel?
I know so before I hit this answer, I know we kind of spoke before off camera about our new process we were gonna unveil.
Oh
Um,
yay! Took my
I
idea.
do want to kind of let it kind of we're gonna change up the way we rate it. So it is rated F. We're still gonna give our grade on it. If it ain't rated F, it won't be a rated F. I'll be honest right now. But I definitely think and we're good. We'll set up the scale. One being high,
Mhm,
5 being like moderate, like definitely watchable.
mhm.
Um, I think this is a rated F1. I think this is
Okay.
one of the things that you have to watch.
Right.
Like you said, get your friends, bring your family, bring some popcorn, some
Right.
beers, and you got yourself a whole night because this is a near 2-hour movie that will just knock your socks right out, knock your pants off. Um,
Yeah.
because
I
I loved it. I was enjoying it. I even some of the gory scenes are like, oh, do it again.
It's nice. It's real nice, and I like how they show you a gore, but they kind of do a bit of a cutscene away from it. So it's almost like they're
Kind of
not
like the
sure.
oh,
Yeah, it's like you want to close your eyes kind of thing. It's like they're almost not sure of it.
like
But
this.
that's yeah, how my wife watches horror movies with the pillow on her face and the one eye, one pupil. It's just like you didn't watch that, damn. But Like
I watched it
I
like
like
this.
I like, I like how they put it in your face, but they kind of take away from it. So when they do set up, hopefully, a sequel, they could just give it to you, and it's gonna be gory as all hell, and they'll have it at you, and it might be NC-17. You gotta ask your grandma if you need to watch this movie. So
Yeah.
parents gonna have parental guidance. But for me, rated F, and as you said, 1 being top tier, that's a 5-star. Rated F for 5-star movie. Rated 10 being dog shit. Don't watch this movie. We're switching it up. It's not it's like a 10 being the highest. No, second place is the first loser. So we're gonna say it is first. One is either your first place or you're not. And for me, I think is definitely rated F for first place 5-star movie. It is
Heck yeah.
worth watching. If you don't have Hulu, it costs less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks to have it monthly. And
Get the bundle. Do what I do. Get the bundle.
The Disney bundle.
Yeah, heck
That's what
yeah.
we have. I think that's what we have. We have so much. I don't know anymore. There's
You
so
got
much.
money.
We got money. We ain't got no children, so we got money. we got bullshit money. That's what we got. I spend so much money on bullshit. We don't need to, but I'm thinking about getting one of those Roombas. Why? We already have a vacuum. But why do we need
Yeah, your dogs.
a Roomba? Specifically whiskey. He sheds like no tomorrow, and it's hot, so trimming them down. But yes, this movie is definitely worth the watch, guys. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Watch it soon. If you have seen it, watch it. Watch it again. If you don't have Hulu, if you don't have a Disney bundle, what are you doing? Money ain't
What
that
are you doing to? Yeah, seriously.
Money ain't
Honestly, guys, go out and see the movie. It's on Hulu, like he's mentioned. Pray. It's definitely
Glorious.
one of our favorite movies right now of the summer.
Mhm.
As summer comes to an end, this is a movie you gotta watch. I would watch it. I'm probably gonna watch it again once I get back upstairs. Let's see.
Yeah, me too.
Uh,
I gotta go see my dad, but I'll see you later. I'll watch it later.
All right, guys. So if you have anything, always, guys, drop it in the comments. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. Watch the movie and give us your feedback. We'd love to see it in the comments, or if you drop it up on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is. We definitely will answer back and give you some of our additional feedbacks. We can definitely have a whole chat again on this.
Yes, please.
And just like always, guys, we want you to go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us here on Instagram and Twitter, The Rated F. And, just as always, guys, we want to continue giving you guys all the good content. Give you what you want.
Amen. Tell your friends, tell your family. We work hard, and we try to give you guys as much as we can, and this takes time out of our day. But I mean, we've been friends 15 years. We love talking to each other. We just do it on camera because we love it, but we would love for you guys to bring in more viewership, and tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your family. We will talk about anything, literally. Literally anything. So let's get this thing off the ground. And thank you for people who are subscribed.
Yes, thank you for everyone who is subscribing, following us. All right, well, Robbie, till next time.
Yeah, man, I'm gone. I'll see you, brother.
Wow, this is the thrill. Welcome to the thrill. Giving you something that's real. Tell me how you really feel now that you're hearing the thrill.